We are back with today's broadcast, and as you can see, I'm joined by yet another very special guest. Now, let's learn a little bit more. So, over to you, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Karolina. I work at Greater Anglia and I'm the brand manager.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me today. And we've got a lot to cover, and I want to really start off with your journey into marketing. And I think a question that everybody needs to ask themselves, or certainly think about, is was it a career that you always had in mind, or did it just develop over the time?
So, growing up, I always knew I wanted to work in business world, but I never really knew which area exactly. I mean, there's quite a few. So when I started university, I actually started on a different course, but I ended up switching to marketing because the modules were just really interesting, and it turned out to be the perfect fit for me.
Amazing. And I think that's really interesting, isn't it? That I suppose it's okay not to fully know. And if you do have something in mind, like absolutely go for it. And whatever opportunity comes about, look at it, explore it. When you were there talking about the modules and things, I think that's something that everybody can take away. Now, something that really excites me about your career journey is that you started as a marketing executive on an industrial placement and you've worked your way up to brand manager. I mean, how did that experience help shape your career to where it is now?
So the industrial placement was such a key point in my career because it really confirmed that marketing was the right career for me. I did the industrial placement during university, knowing that, okay, this is going to give me sort of a taste of whether this is what I want. So I gained experience across different areas, including branding, digital marketing, and media. And I found it so exciting and I loved it. So I found branding the most interesting, and that's what I got to carry on with.
I think what's really interesting actually is that so Greater Anglia, what you wouldn't necessarily look at Greater Anglia and think, they would need a marketing executive or that they would do social media or that a brand manager. And was that something that it kind of like that shocks me to know that you wouldn't necessarily think of that as a career within Greater Anglia.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I first found out that I secured the role in the industrial placement, I was asking the same questions. I was thinking, okay, so what am I going to be doing? How is it going to look like? But then actually going into it, it was fantastic. And there's so much that you wouldn't even think about that goes on over here.
Absolutely. And what's I want to kind of go into now is the fact that you've taken on different roles in marketing. So, like you were saying earlier, social media, branding, customer communications. Now, as a brand manager, what does that typical day look like for you?
Oh, that's a really tricky one because no 2 days are the same, which is what I actually love most about marketing. So one day I might be handling branding requests at our stations, the next I might be working with our creative and media agencies on things like influencer campaigns or customer communications. And I also collaborate with different internal teams on branding projects. So there's something new basically every day. So every day feels very fresh and exciting.
And that's what we want, isn't it, from a job? We want to be
Absolutely.
coming in and new things that really kind of feed into that passion that we've got. And like you were saying, you've got that passion for marketing and it's great that something kind of new comes about all of the time. And you mentioned there about projects and something that I would like us to talk about now is maybe a campaign or a project that you've worked on that you're particularly proud of.
Yeah, so actually during my placement year, I started something called our 12 Days of Christmas giveaways. It's one of our smaller campaigns, I would say, but it's so wholesome. So each December, we run giveaways on Facebook and we partner with attractions across London and East Anglia to give prizes like hotel stays and entry to top attractions and travel vouchers or gift vouchers. So it's a really, really fun and great way to spread the festive cheer. And then when you hear about how our winners enjoyed the prizes, it makes it even more rewarding. But it also gives me the opportunities to stay in touch with all of our partners and make new partnerships as well. So it's a really, really exciting one.
That's so exciting as well that you kind of started that. I mean, that's such a big thing. You say that it's one of the smaller campaigns, but how amazing is that? Like, really feel good factor of what it is that you're doing during that period. That's quite exciting, actually. Okay. We move on now to some skills and kind of advice. I know that before we went live today, we kind of spoke about your career journey and about what it is that you've been doing. And, we talk about the projects and things like that. But something that you did mention was the fact that you've completed several courses and you're now working towards chartership, aren't you? I mean, how important is that, or has that continuous learning been in your career, do you think?
Continuous learning has been genuinely invaluable in my career. The CIM courses have helped me develop my marketing skills by applying new insight into my work, but also staying up to date with industry developments and broadening my perspective. It's really a great way to keep growing and improving in an ever evolving field. I mean, marketing, there is new revelations and new findings quite often, so it's a great way to stay up to date with the industry.
Now, I'm not going to lie, it sounds incredible, your role and what it is that you're doing. I think for young people, especially as we focus on them today during this week, what I want to find out is if they're interested in marketing, what do you think are the key skills and qualities that they should be focusing on developing kind of like now whilst they're in school or college?
I think some of just the key general skills can include things like creativity and thinking outside the box and just putting yourself in other people's shoes. So, if there is a specific industry that you're interested in, you really want to put yourself in the consumer's perspective, put yourself as a customer and think about the journey that you're taking when you're buying a product or using a service. And that will really, really help you understand all the different areas that you might be able to apply into marketing. And it's just those general things that then help to learn from different areas of the business as well, and get a full picture of how everything connects. So marketing has so many pathways, and exploring as many of them as possible and staying curious is essential.
Absolutely, because the industry and I suppose the role and technology and everything that comes along with that, it is continually evolving, isn't it? You've only got to kind of look on the news about AI, for example. Everything kind of tech wise is really kind of ramping up and everything's new all of the time. So yeah, definitely great advice there to keep kind of up to date with everything. Now I want to circle back to that placement year. You did that as part of your university, or you did a placement year as part of your university. How do you think that experience then prepared you for the workplace, and would you recommend it?
So my placement year, it was, being completely honest, a very last minute decision. I didn't originally start my university course with the placement year, but I had requested to add that in during my first year of university. And I couldn't be happier that I did it. It gave me hands on experience in a professional environment, which allowed me to apply what I learned at university while also gaining insight from industry professionals. I mean, you'd be working along people who have been in the field for so long, so you can ask questions, you can find out about different areas. So I would highly recommend it. Ask questions, make connections, and basically seize opportunities that come to you.
100%, because I suppose with those placements, you mentioned there about connections. At some point, you are going to be wanting to kind of get a job, aren't you? You finish university, you wanting to be looking for that next step. So being in that industry and having that experience as well is going to set you up to succeed, isn't it? With like you say, gaining those connections.
Absolutely, yeah. So having those connections and staying in touch and just asking questions and, being curious can really, really make a big impact.
Looking back at your journey then so far, what do you think would be a piece of advice that you would give your younger self, or I suppose anybody that's maybe unsure about their career?
So I was actually in that position back in sixth form. I thought, I'm really not sure exactly what I want to do. But I think the best thing you can do is just take the time to research different career options, whether that's sitting and looking through other people's LinkedIn's and having a look at what journey they had and what do you find interesting. And then you can build connections and ask questions, and you can just read up so much online as well, whether that is about different university courses and finding out, okay, this course sounds interesting, but do the modules sound interesting? Does this align with what you want to learn and potentially go into in the future? So I think it's just being really open about things, and there's so many different things you can choose. So just being open can really, really lead you to places you never knew you could go to.
Absolutely. Okay, let's finish off then. So, we're here to celebrate National Careers Week. What would be one message that you would like to share with young people, parents, teachers about career opportunities in marketing and branding?
So, marketing and branding offers so many exciting opportunities, whether that's for creativity, strategy, or collaboration with different teams, different industries. It's a field where you can make a real impact, whether through digital campaigns or brand development, and there's so much you can learn. For young people, I'd really encourage exploring the many specialisms within marketing and learning how they align with your interest and skills. Marketing, in my opinion, is quite a broad term because there is so much you can specialize within those areas. So I think it's really, really important to take the time to find out what it is and exactly what skills you might want to put to use and what interests you the most.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and for telling us all about your journey and about the really great advice that we've got along the way, especially about those skills and the industry placement as well. I think that's going to be really beneficial for our viewers today. So, a huge thank you on behalf of our viewers and myself today for coming on.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Now, for anybody that's watching, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the live chat, which is just to the right of the video player. Now, let's see what we've got coming up next for National Careers Week.